Hello, this is 5.3 Safe Internet Use. It's grade 10 IT by IT's Clear. We're talking about viruses and all the malware and the threats that try and attack your computer. So how do viruses spread? Through infected attachments, infected downloaded files, or through portable media. We're talking about flash drives and the like. So how do I know if my computer has a virus? Your files will disappear, it gets extremely slow, programs don't work, free space is used up, you get strange error messages, it does not boot, and your antivirus can report a threat or a virus. So to prevent it, you want to install antivirus software. Although we're going to discuss it that actually if you've got a Windows 10 computer, then it comes with an antivirus included, so you don't actually have to install an external one. So what does antivirus software do? It scans your computer files and eliminates viruses. It runs in the background, so you don't even know it's doing its job. It starts automatically every time you switch your computer on. And it can be set to warn you if it finds a virus, can be set to automatically delete the virus or to quarantine a virus. And we know all about quarantine now. We've had COVID-19 around. The quarantine means you put it in a place where it cannot do any harm, and you leave it until you decide whether it's useful and you still need it or whether you want to just get rid of it. More about prevention. How do antiviruses work? They look for a virus signature. So this is a pattern in the software of the virus that uniquely identifies the virus. And because there are new antiviruses being written every day, you have to update your virus signatures very often. And this can be downloaded for the antivirus software you've got. But actually, if you're using Windows and Windows Defender, then it's running in the background, it updates by itself. So other examples are Norton, AVG, Bitdefender, Kaspersky, and McAfee. Here are some guidelines. Do check that your computer's antivirus is on and it's running. Keep your definitions updated regularly. That is if that is required. Actually, currently, most antiviruses will do this automatically. And that's my next point. Set it so it updates automatically. Scan the portable media first. So when a flash drive gets plugged in, it should be scanned immediately before your computer starts using it. Scan your email attachments. Scan incoming and outgoing emails. Actually, this is actually done automatically by Gmail if you're using Gmail. And don't open emails from people you don't know. Avoid pirated software and disable the auto run on your flash drives. We're going to look at all the different kinds of viruses. The first is a computer worm. It's called a worm because it distributes itself automatically and independently over a network or via email, and it reproduces many times. So it sort of infiltrates your computer without you knowing it, just like a worm would crawl underground. Your computer could also start sending out the worms on its own and send out hundreds of them. It could take up space in your computer's RAM, your memory, and then your computer slows down because it's got no space for the programs. Or it might fill up your whole hard drive, and that will slow down your computer a lot and you can't save anything. Worms can be prevented. The next one is a Trojan horse. You may have heard the story of this horse that was put outside the city because they couldn't attack it and it was under siege, and they hid an army inside it. So it looked useful. They thought they might be delivering food, and they opened the gates and out popped the army and defeated them. So a Trojan is something that looks useful. It looks good on the outside, just like that Trojan horse did, but inside it contains a destructive program. It could be an email attachment, and that is the reason, because of Trojans, that's why you can't send EXEs in an email, because they may very well contain a Trojan and it's difficult to check. So harmful things that Trojan do, they might delete files from your computer, they might scan your computer for personal information and then email those on to whoever installed the Trojan on your computer. And then we get spyware. This tracks you as you work on your computer, and whatever it finds as you type keys, etc., it will send all that information back to the spy. You don't know it's going on. A type of spyware is called a key logger, and that just captures all your keystrokes. But then if they look through that information, they can find your usernames and your passwords. So signs you've got a spyware operating on your computer. If you've got anti-spyware software, obviously it will tell you. You may find there's internet activity going on and you didn't initiate it. You may find internet settings that have been changed that you did not set. And you may also find your computer slowing down, or you may be redirected to different pages that you did not ask to go to. Or you can get a lot of pop-ups with advertising or requests to install software. How to avoid it? Make sure you have good anti-spyware software and ensure that the list of spyware definitions is regularly updated, although this does happen automatically, and ignore it. If you get pop-up windows, ignore those. Adware is another form of malware, although it's just a nuisance. This is software that downloads, and whenever you're connected, it bombards you with adverts. It's just a nuisance, but you do get anti-adware software as well. Spam is just junk email, and we all have a problem with those in our mailboxes. Then hoaxes and scams, there are many different forms, but this is an example of a phishing one. We're going to look at a few different hoaxes and scams. So this would be a hoax. Obviously, not everything you read on the internet is true. Buy dehydrated water. I mean, just the wording is nonsense. So don't look any further. If it doesn't look true, it probably isn't. This is a dog island where 2,500 dogs are enjoying a better life. They probably want you to donate money to this. That's why they've advertised this. It's obviously also nonsense. Another one, the Pacific Northwest tree octopus, and they've even got a photo. Wow. So the next problems we're going to look at is how people, this is called social engineering, they try and get your details by all sorts of means. So phishing with the PH. This is when someone tries to con you into giving your information, and they try and get you to give personal details or confidential details, for example, your PINs or your passwords, and then they can rob you. Or they could try and do identity fraud, identity theft. So often they will ask you to click a link to go to a website, which is actually a fake website, or they'll pretend to be from your bank, but be very careful. So here are some tips. Do not respond to email requests to give your PINs and passwords. Never give your PIN or your password. Type the URL of your bank's website out rather than clicking on a link. And check that a website is secure before you type your password or your PIN. Another one is farming. So this is farming with the PH again. It's similar to phishing, but it's not with an email. And what it does is it's trying to rob you of your identity. So your computer is infiltrated so that you're automatically redirected to a fake website when you type in a certain URL. and then the criminal uses the data you enter to go and log in maybe to your banking. And it's very hard to detect or prevent, but some good tips: ensure that you have up-to-date anti-spyware software. And if you go to sites needing secure information, these are made so it will warn you when you're redirected to another site. So pay attention to warnings. Email spoofing is when the email header is changed so it looks like the email is from somebody else, from maybe somewhere that is legit, and you trust it because it looks correct, but it's not actually a correct email. And this is often used when they do spam or phishing. And there are many guidelines to use the internet and email with courtesy and safety. These are called Netiquette. Just a few tips: don't start flame wars, don't type in all caps, don't be rude. Often an email, what you would write in an email, you would never say to somebody's face, so be careful, rather reread it, maybe sleep on it before you send it. And there are lots of guidelines to use the internet and email with courtesy and safety. Make sure that everything you send is true and helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind. And be careful when you interact with others online. I'm sure you've been taught about all these things in your previous grades, and those are very important to keep following those rules. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.